Imagine a young mother sitting in a quiet, sunlit nursery, rocking her newborn baby to sleep. The baby is wrapped in a soft blanket, dreaming of a world that is safe and kind. For this mother, that tiny baby represents every hope and every dream she ever had when she moved to a new land. But suddenly, a shadow falls over the room. Someone tells her that because of a rule written on a piece of paper miles away, her baby, born right here, in this very town, might not actually belong to the place they call home. This is a story about a great palace of law, a powerful leader, and a question that could change the lives of millions of families forever. It is a tale of a high-stakes battle where the future of children hangs in the balance. And today, I am going to tell you the story of what happened inside the most important courtroom in the land. 2 days ago, something happened deep inside the tall white marble walls of the Supreme Court that could change the life of every single immigrant family. Most people have no idea this even happened, but the air inside that room was thick with tension. It was a day that felt like a scene from a movie. On a cool morning in April, 9 judges sat in their high black chairs to decide one very big question. That question is this: if a baby is born right here on American soil, in an American hospital, is that baby still a citizen? This story is about whether a child belongs to the land of their birth, or if their future depends on where their parents came from. I have something to tell you that will truly surprise you. 6 of those 9 judges looked at the lawyers and basically said they weren't sure they believed the new rules being proposed. Even judges who were chosen by the leader who made the rules seemed to have doubts. The leader himself, a man named Trump, was sitting right there in the courtroom. It was a historic moment because it was the first time a sitting president had ever gone to the Supreme Court to watch a case like this in person. He sat there for 90 minutes, perfectly still, watching and listening. But what he heard from the judges was probably not what he wanted to hear. This story matters because it isn't just about famous people in big buildings. It is about real people. It is about a father who works hard at a computer company on a special work visa. It is about a mother who is a student at a university, learning how to be a doctor. It is about families who have lived here for years, waiting for their paperwork to be finished. In this story, we imagine a world where 320,000 babies born in just 1 year might suddenly find out the government doesn't see them as citizens anymore. That is a huge number of children. The story tells us that a new order was signed that would take away the special status of these babies. For the next few minutes, I want you to stay with me because I am going to explain exactly what happened in that courtroom, which judges were kind, which ones were tough, and what families might need to do to stay safe. My name is Saqib, and I am a storyteller who follows these big updates. This might be the most important story I have ever shared with you. Let's start with the basics so everyone can understand. Imagine it is the first day of a new presidency. The leader signs a paper called an executive order. The name of the paper sounds very fancy, but what it really says is that the government should stop giving citizenship to babies born in the country unless at least one parent is already a citizen or has a special green card. Think about that for a second. In this story, imagine a mom and dad who moved here to work at a big company in New Jersey or California. They have a baby in a local hospital. Under this new rule, that baby would not be considered a person of this country. If 2 students have a baby while they are in college, that baby isn't a citizen either. Even people who have lived here since they were little kids themselves would find that their own new babies are treated like strangers. Experts say this could affect millions and millions of people. Every year, hundreds of thousands of babies would be born into a world where they don't have a country to call their own. But here is the twist in our story. This new rule has never actually started. Every time a smaller judge looked at it, they said, "No, this is not allowed." One judge even said it went against the most important rules of the land. Because so many people disagreed, the case had to go all the way to the Supreme Court, which is like the highest court in the kingdom. Let's go inside that courtroom now. Picture the scene. It is a little before 10 in the morning. The leader walks in and sits in the front row. He is surrounded by his advisors. He doesn't say a word. He just sits there with his hands in his lap, watching everything. For 90 minutes, he listens to the arguments. A lawyer for the government stands up and tells the 9 judges that the old rules about babies being citizens were only meant for a time long ago. He says that the world has changed and that the country needs to be more like other countries that don't give citizenship so easily. But then, the judges started to push back, and this is where the drama really begins. One judge, the leader of the court, asked if this was really a big problem or just something people were worried about. The lawyer had to admit he didn't know for sure. Then the judge said something very powerful. He said that even if the world is new, the rules of the land remain the same. It was like saying that just because you have a new house, the rules of being a good person don't change. Another judge, who was actually picked by the leader himself, was also very skeptical. He pointed out that a long time ago, the rules were even simpler, and that anyone who came here was treated as part of the family. He brought up old stories and old laws to show that the government's new idea didn't really fit with history. Another judge even laughed a little, saying that if they just followed the old rules, this whole case would be over very quickly. But then, the mood turned serious. One judge, a woman who cares deeply about fairness, said something that might make you feel a little scared. She reminded everyone of a time when the government took away citizenship from people who already had it. She asked the lawyer, if we allow this rule today, what stops a future leader from going back in time and taking away the citizenship of children who are already grown up? The lawyer didn't have a good answer. He didn't say it would never happen. He left the door open, which felt like a cold wind blowing through the room. To understand why this is such a big deal, we have to talk about a man named Wong Kim Ark. His story happened a long time ago, in the 1800s. He was born in San Francisco, but his parents had come from a faraway land called China. Back then, there were very mean laws that said people from China could never become citizens. When Wong Kim Ark went on a trip and tried to come back home to California, the guards at the gate told him he couldn't come in because he wasn't a citizen. He fought for his rights all the way to the Supreme Court, and you know what? He won. In the year 1898, the judges decided that if you are born here, you are a citizen, no matter where your parents are from. That rule has been the law for over 125 years. It is a rule that has protected millions of children. Now I want to talk directly to the families who are listening. Many people who come to this country to work at places like Google or Microsoft are worried. They pay their taxes, they follow the rules, and they love their children. In this dramatized story, if the rules changed, a baby born to these parents would have no legal status at all. The baby wouldn't automatically be on the parents' visa. They would have to fill out piles of paperwork just to keep their own newborn baby in the house. The judge in our story even worried that babies could be taken away from their parents or left with no country at all. Imagine a baby who doesn't belong anywhere on earth. That is a very sad and scary thought. So, let's look at how the judges seem to be feeling. In our story, it looks like 6 out of the 9 judges are not on the leader's side. They seem to want to keep the old rules that protect babies. One judge is still thinking and asking a lot of questions. One judge seems to be looking at very specific details. And only one judge seems to really agree with the government's new plan. But remember, this is a drama, and we don't know the ending yet. In real life, judges sometimes change their minds after the big meeting is over. We won't know the final answer until the middle of the summer. Until that day comes, the new rule is blocked. That means right now, every baby born here is still a citizen. But because this story is so intense, many people are wondering what would happen if the judges changed their minds. If the rule ever started, every single parent, even ones who were born here, might have to prove they are citizens before their baby can get a birth certificate. It could make everything much harder. It could mean babies can't get doctors or help because their paperwork is stuck in a big government office. One professor said that if the rule changes, it would be like saying we have been reading the rules wrong for over 100 years. It could even mean that people who are already adults might have their citizenship questioned. Even though this is a fictionalized version of these big events, the feelings are very real. People are scared. But in every good story, there are things you can do to be brave and prepared. If you were in this situation, here are 5 steps you would take to protect your family. First, if a child is born in the country, the parents should get them a passport right away. A passport is like a golden key. It is the strongest proof that a person belongs to their country. Second, parents should get a special certified copy of the birth certificate and keep it very safe, like a treasure. They should even keep digital copies in the cloud so they can never be lost. Third, they should make sure the baby has a social security card, which is like a special number that shows the government knows who they are. Fourth, it is always smart to talk to a wise legal expert. These are people who know the rules better than anyone else. They can help a family understand their specific situation. And fifth, everyone should keep their eyes and ears open for the final news. In our story, the big decision will be announced in June or July. It is important to stay connected with others who are following the story, so you aren't surprised by what happens next. I want to tell you about something that doesn't get talked about enough. Even while the judges are still thinking, the fear is already doing harm. In our story, mothers are afraid to go to the hospital because they are worried about what might happen. Parents are rushing to get papers because they are scared their children will be taken away. Families are making big life decisions based on a fear of a rule that hasn't even started yet. That fear is very heavy, and it is a big part of the drama. So my message to you is this: knowledge is like a light in a dark room. When you know what is happening, you don't have to be as afraid. In our story, the most important rules of the land are still standing strong. Most of the judges seem to want to protect the children. But even so, it is always better to be ready for anything. If this story helped you understand the big drama happening in the highest court, then you should keep following along. This is a story that changes every day. It is a story about families, about fairness, and about the future of a whole generation of children. We are watching the history books being written in real time. Whether you are a parent, a student, or just someone who cares about others, this is a tale that touches everyone. Imagine the mother in the nursery again. She looks down at her baby and smiles. She knows that as long as people are fighting for what is right in the big white palace of law, there is hope. She knows that her baby's dreams are worth protecting. And as the sun sets on our story for today, we remember that the most important thing is to stay informed, stay calm, and look out for one another. This has been a look into a dramatic world of laws and leaders. It is a story inspired by the big questions of our time, meant to show how much is at stake. The ending hasn't been written yet, but we will be here to tell you when it is. Until then, keep your family close and your heart brave. The world is a big place, but there is always a place for a story about hope and the strength of a family's love. This journey through the halls of the Supreme Court shows us that even the most powerful people have to answer to the rules. It shows us that one man from a long time ago, like Wong Kim Ark, can change the world for everyone who comes after him. And it shows us that even when things feel scary, there are often people in high places who are asking the right questions. As we wait for the summer to come, we watch and we listen. We keep our papers safe and our spirits high. We remember that every child deserves to feel like they belong. This is the heart of our story. It is a tale of a country trying to figure out who it wants to be. And in the end, that is a story that involves all of us. Stay safe, stay informed, and remember that you are not alone in this big, dramatic journey. The next chapter is coming soon, and we will be ready to hear it together. Think about the strength of those who came before us. They faced many challenges and big changes, yet they kept moving forward. Just like the people in our story, we must be patient and wait for the final word. The judges have a very big job to do, and they know the whole world is watching them. They know that their words will be remembered for a very long time. In the meantime, let's focus on what we can control. We can be kind to our neighbors. We can help those who are feeling worried. We can make sure our own families are prepared and informed. That is how we become the heroes of our own stories. No matter what the big paper says in July, the love a parent has for a child is something that no law can ever change. That is the most true thing in any land, in any time, and in any story. So, as we close this chapter of our dramatized tale, take a deep breath. The courtroom is quiet for now. The judges are writing their thoughts down. The leader is waiting. And millions of families are waiting too. We will keep a close eye on the marble building and the people inside. When the doors open and the news comes out, we will be here to share it with you, simply and clearly, so everyone knows exactly what it means for their own life and their own home. Thank you for listening to this story. It is a big one, full of mystery and importance. It reminds us that even when the world feels like it is changing too fast, there are ancient rules and kind hearts that work to keep things steady. We will talk again soon when the next part of the story unfolds. Until then, take care of each other and keep dreaming big dreams for the little ones in your life. The stars are coming out over the nursery now, and the baby is fast asleep. The mother looks out the window at the quiet street and feels a little bit stronger. She knows the story isn't over, but she also knows she is doing everything she can. And that is the best way for any story to continue. We will see you in the next update, where we will find out together what the future holds for all the families in this great land. Stay tuned because the most important parts of the story are still to come, and you won't want to miss a single word. This dramatized look at the world of immigration and law is meant to help you see the big picture. It is a story of hope, a story of tension, and most of all, a story about people. We will continue to follow the path of the judges and the leaders as they make their way through this historic case. Every day brings us closer to the answer. Every day is a new chance to stay informed. And every day is a reminder that the future is something we build together, one story at a time. Goodbye for now, and stay safe in your own corner of the world.